Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Monday, July 18th. This is Gina McGuire. Over the next couple of days, we'll continue to see increases in fire potential across the Great Basin. Today, we'll continue to see gusty winds and low relative humidity across Nevada into Idaho, with lightning increasing today across Utah and into Wyoming across the Bridger Tetons. This lightning will be fast moving, therefore rainfall amounts will likely be on the lighter side, and these increased dry lightning strikes will increase fire potential in areas where fuels are critical. Winds will stay breezy on Tuesday but will decrease from what we'll see on Monday, and we'll see more moisture moving into parts of southeast Utah, increasing chances for rainfall. However, still further north and west, these thunderstorms will likely remain on the drier side through this week. Over the last 24 hours, we did see a couple of lightning strikes across the Great Basin, along with some light precipitation over western Wyoming into southern and eastern Utah and the central Idaho mountains. However, this precipitation again was relatively light, with only a few hundredths of an inch of precipitation reported. Also, you can see the lightning strikes on the right-hand side, which were most plentiful across western Wyoming. Looking at the Great Basin fire activity, we had a few small fires reported in the last 24 hours based on the red circles. The largest fire was over the Bridger Tetons, which was last reported at over 2,000 acres. Over the last 7 to 14 days, we've had very little precipitation over the southern half of the Great Basin, with any rainfall pushed further north over the central Idaho mountains. This drying trend and very warm temperatures has allowed ERCs to quickly increase across the Great Basin. Just 1 week ago, most of the area was below the 70th percentile, with only a few spots above the 80th percentile in Utah. However, just yesterday, ERCs have already increased to well above the 80th percentile region-wide and even above the 97th percentile across parts of Utah. Live fuel moisture has also been on the rapid decline as drier conditions have returned. The water vapor satellite loop from this morning shows a deepening trough along the west coast, which is responsible for our gusty winds and dry conditions over the western and northern side of the Great Basin. This has also pushed our high pressure to the east, therefore temperatures will be cooling across the area, but only to near or even just below normal. Also, with this increasing southwesterly flow, it's pushing a lot of moisture up into mainly Utah and up into Wyoming, and this moisture will allow for a return of thunderstorms to especially the eastern half of the Great Basin. Looks like over the next several days, this moisture will be focused over mainly Utah into western Wyoming and possibly southeast Idaho. However, there still are some small chances for thunderstorms to creep a little bit further west into southern and eastern Nevada. We do have 2 hurricanes over the eastern Pacific, but again, these features are moving well to the west, with the moisture staying well out of the Great Basin. Now looking at significant fire potential today across the Great Basin. Again, with these gusty winds and low humidity, we'll see increased fire potential if we see starts across Nevada into western Utah and southern Idaho. However, over the eastern side of Utah into western Wyoming, we'll see an increase of lightning today. We already have some early morning showers moving over the area, but these showers are moving relatively fast and only dropping very small amounts of precipitation. However, relative humidity is increasing over parts of southeast Utah. But this lightning, as it increases, as our fuels are very critical, will increase the potential for starts and spread with the gusty winds. Also, these thunderstorms are moving quite a bit faster than we would normally see in a return of monsoon moisture. Looking at the conditions today, relative humidity will remain in the single digits across Nevada into western and southwest Idaho, and will be increasing over the eastern half of Utah as those thunderstorms return. However, winds will still remain gusty, with gusts between 30 and 40 miles per hour in many areas, except for over far southeast Utah, where gusts will be a little bit less. However, again, storm motion will be faster and precipitation will be light, and we'll also see the potential for gusty outflow winds. As we move into Tuesday, a very similar pattern, although high pressure starts to build a little bit further west, so this will allow the trough of low pressure to move further west and winds to decrease. Still remain breezy on Tuesday, but lighter than what we'll see today. Also, that moisture will remain in place for another day of showers and thunderstorms across Utah, and the main threats are going to be on the northern and western fringe of this lightning, where the storms will be moving a little bit faster and also on the drier side. Looking at the conditions on Tuesday, we continue with those single-digit relative humidities over the western half of the Great Basin, and higher humidity where we're seeing lightning, and again that decrease in winds, but still breezy with gusts between 20 and 30 miles per hour. As we move into Wednesday, the high builds a little bit further west, so we'll see a continued decrease in the winds on Wednesday and also increasing temperatures, and that lightning threat remains across Utah, and again the northern and western fringe is where the drier lightning strikes will be most problematic. Looking at the conditions on Wednesday, very similar to the last 2 days with the relative humidity, and then showers and thunderstorms again mainly focused across Utah into southwest Wyoming and possibly even into the central Idaho mountains. Looking at the overall forecast amount of precipitation is mainly in the higher elevations over the eastern half of Utah, where we could see significant amounts, especially as we move towards the middle of the week. However, still the initial days as lightning returns will be a mix of wet and dry. As we move into Thursday, a very similar pattern, still with high pressure over the eastern side of the Great Basin and that moisture in place for continued showers and thunderstorms. The main question on Thursday is how far west and north these thunderstorms will expand, with the main threat being over northwest and western Utah as thunderstorms return for the first time. However, these thunderstorms could creep into southern Idaho and eastern Nevada, and we'll continue to monitor that threat as those areas have been exceptionally dry as well. Looking at Friday, the area of high pressure now expands across the Great Basin, so we'll see increasing temperatures, much lighter winds, and also drier air starts to push across the Great Basin from the west. So we may still continue to see some lightning over parts of southeast and eastern Utah, but the rest of the area should start to dry out again. On Saturday, that drier air pushes across the Great Basin, and we may see dry conditions region-wide. On Sunday, that condition continues, with again high pressure, warming temperatures, light winds, and generally dry conditions. Again, we'll still be watching southeast Utah. However, that area, if lightning continues, will have seen lightning and showers for several days. The 7-day forecast amount of precipitation includes what we will see through the middle of this week. So again, most of that precipitation is through about Thursday or Friday. Looking at a little bit further down the road into the end of July, we'll continue to see those above normal temperatures across the Great Basin and generally below normal precipitation in the north, with really the monsoon moisture pushed pretty far south over the southwestern U.S. into potentially southern Utah. That concludes our briefing for today. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Thank you for listening.